Ladies and gentlemen, hey, hi, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for stopping by. This past week, we saw what is the final major update for MW2 and Warzone go live with the Haunting update, aka what is, I guess, technically Season 6 Reloaded. There was no marketing for a Reloaded update this season back at the launch. It was all Haunting oriented and Haunting focused, and obviously with the update for the Haunting now live, we've got the new Haunting roadmap, and again, it's all just Haunting focused. So that's the remainder of the content that we've got for the MW2 year in this first initial year of Warzone. And this being the final update, the sort of final send-off, if you will, this update sort of lacked in some areas, and I think surprised a few people as well with what it did or did not implement. So that being said, I wanted to sort of break down this update and sort of what to expect in the aftermath of it. If you enjoyed the video as we do so, do me a favor, drop a like on it. It's always appreciated. And if you're new here, you want to guarantee you are up to date with literally everything going on in COD between MW3 and Warzone. Got a crazy couple of days, weeks, and months coming up here, so you're not going to want to miss a thing. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on those post notifications. Now, initially, when it comes to the Haunting update for MW2 and Warzone and DMZ, this is like our third title update in 3 weeks almost, which is pretty unheard of for Call of Duty. Usually the title updates that require you to download, 10, 15, 20 gigs worth of stuff usually only happens once or twice a month max, usually like twice a season, one for the seasonal launch, one for the mid-season update, and then unless there's like some major issue that needs a title update to be fixed, we don't see those all that often. But because of the COD HQ app with the MW3 beta and everything, we had an initial update to preload the beta, then we had updates during the beta, and now we got the mid-season update. So a lot of major updates have required downloads recently, which I know those of you with not great internet are not fans of as is. The new updates come out and you gotta wait 5 hours sometimes before you can even play. So this is another large update that we had for Season 6 Reloaded, or the Haunting, 20 plus gigs. I saw some people commenting on Xbox, they were getting like 50 gig updates. For those wondering, at times, Xbox in specific will like glitch out on updates and make you download old ones and new ones at the same time, which is why you get like some crazy download sizes. I don't think there's any way around it other than just having to suffer through that download, but it's a weird situation where this was a major update, and while it did introduce the Haunting event, with everything else, it was kind of lackluster in my opinion. Now that said, I gotta give them props because this Haunting event is absolutely awesome in my opinion. The actual in-game events for this, with all the monsters on Al Mazrah and soon to be Von Dead and everything like that, Zombie Royale coming as well, that stuff is really, really cool and really in-depth. Like the Butcher boss fights and the Ghost Train and all that stuff, awesome. They knocked it out of the park with that. Al Mazrah at night also looks really, really cool in my opinion. But that's pretty much the entire final update, which to some players I know is a bit disappointing because either they're not full-on Warzone focused and full-on Warzone oriented, which means that outside of that, there hasn't been much revealed and much updated this season in general, honestly. And not all of the Haunting is actually even live at launch. We know later on this week, we're going to have another new update go live to bring in Von Dead at night and Zombie Royale. So for the Haunting update to go live this week, middle of the week, and only include part of the update, and then outside of any Haunting specifically themed stuff, there's not really much going on. A little disappointing in my opinion for the final update, what's going to hold us over to MW3, and for those not getting that game at launch, live beyond the launch of that game as well. So that initially was a bit surprising, a major update for just this one specific event, which yes, the event itself, awesome, but outside of the Haunting, this update, Season 6 Reloaded, or this mid-season update, is one of the least productive elsewhere. This is the first time we've had a mid-season update basically with no brand new ranged weapon. We obviously got the Geist and the ISO 9mm back at the start of the season. No other ranged weapons outside of that though, which like I said is a first for this year in terms of content. We always usually see 1 or 2 weapons drop in the middle of the season, so really surprising there. There was no major weapon changes or meta updates in the patch notes. They did say that there will be a meta update later on in season. That could be next week, that could be the week after, that could be the week of early access for MW3. We just don't know on that as of right now. Multiplayer got some map revamps. There's going to be 2 Halloween and Haunting themed map for El Asilo and Embassy, which is fun, but those aren't permanent maps. So no new map for the mid-season, another thing that we usually see for multiplayer's side of things. And in general, this update just felt kind of lacking elsewhere. And that means that for the remainder of MW2, we don't really have all that much going on, surprisingly. Now, we've got a bit of an extension coming to the Haunting, as mentioned. Later on this week, we see a new playlist update go live, and then next week, we see the remainder of the rewards for the Soul Eater event go live, including a new Mastery camo in a sense. But with that being said, once the Haunting event ends in, I think it's 17 or 18 days from now, it's not going to necessarily feel like Season 6 was a full-on season by comparison when you look at the content and the changes that were made, meaning the end of MW2 definitely, I feel like, was somewhat representative of the year. Kind of felt a little bit odd and out of place in some areas. In fact, really the only major update that we're still waiting on in MW2 now at this point is the announcement on the true state of DMZ moving into year 2 for that, because as we know, Call of Duty mentioned DMZ not continuing into MW3, not continuing with Warzone. It's basically discontinued for all future projects and is just going to be an MW2 exclusive thing moving forward, when we don't know if that means that it's still going to remain free to play as a part of the MW2 app, which will be a little bit weird, or if it's going to be tethered to an MW2 download entirely, if there's going to even be any content updates for it besides maybe some mission refreshes or what, because it's Infinity Ward's project now. They're going to be moving on to whatever their next title is. Very strange situation going on with that, but we know DMZ is not getting a new map, new movement, anything like that. It's just basically what it is now, not being completely Thanos snapped out of existence. It's just existing. So ultimately, with this update here, with the Haunting and everything going on in the mid-season for Season 6, unless they have a major surprise planned for us, at some point next week or something, this is by far one of the strangest updates that we've seen in MW2 and Warzone, or maybe even just the recent years, honestly, because while in one area, it is maybe the coolest update that we've seen for Warzone in several years, with the Haunting and the monsters and everything going on there, which again, absolutely killed it. Such a cool event. Beyond that, it just being a limited time event and not going to be lasting permanently, this update didn't really do much for the game, which I feel like most of us were expecting it to, considering it is the final send-off and the true end of MW2, at least in terms of updates and content refreshes and whatnot there. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Are you all that concerned about anything outside of the Haunting? Are you bummed that we don't see a new weapon or anything like that? Would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on that. But that being said, that is going to wrap things up. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like on it. And if you're new here, you want to guarantee you're always up to date with all things going on in COD, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. But once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you later. Peace out.